that. You know, I mean, there's any of the strange problems on there that you didn't see a problem that looked like it probably won't be on the quiz. You know,
Okay.
so, but the ones that were repeated, the ones that were examples of repeated things, make sure you know how a deck of cards works, make sure you know how 1 and 2 dice, make sure you know what the sample spaces are for that. Those kind
Okay. Okay, perfect.
those are some of the things that in the past I've seen students struggle with, which is why there's a lot of additional video support on that, and I go over that, you know, and I'd be happy to go over it again if you need to, but that's why there's additional support built into that, because people don't know and they
Okay.
don't necessarily learn. So
Okay, perfect. So, to be honest, I did understand how to use the what's it called? The deck of cards. I understood that.
you understood,
I-
okay?
I reviewed the video a few times, your video on YouTube
Mhm.
in regards to that area. The one that I'm not that strong, like you mentioned right now, it's on the die.
The 2 dice.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything in particular about it that is troublesome to you, or just
The understanding of it, to be honest.
okay? So, let's do this. We know that on a single die, we have 6 outcomes, right?
Yes.
So that's fairly straightforward. First die, single outcomes, right?
Yes, correct.
Now, if we have 2, one of the ways that we line this up, let me use black here. No, I'll try to do this. This won't be as nice as hers, but I'll try to do this from scratch so you guys can see again where this comes from, because maybe that's the issue. I don't know, because there's probably as many issues to have with this as there are people to have, you know.
Okay.
There's always somebody that comes up with something and then like, I didn't think that of that until you said that. So feel free to sound off if you if there's anything here that is I'm just doing a little housekeeping right now so I can draw this out in a halfway decent way. So this is what you call stalling for effect right now.
Perfect.
But let's see. I've got, and I'm gonna draw some lines going across. Looks like a wrought iron gate or a jail cell, and that's not it's not the effect that I'm going for, but let's just see what we can do here. This is 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we're gonna have first die and we're gonna have second die, okay? So
Okay.
I'm going to try and make this as explanatory as I can by doing this first. I'm gonna put my, we'll see how long this lasts, but we'll make it work. 1, 2, 3, and I need another rung on the ladder here. Let me get one for us before so your math tutor counted wrong. So I need to make another line here. Just gonna sneak this out to the end so I can make 6. Now, if you're like a lot of students when this came up, they don't understand why these outcomes are repeated. That's usually one of the first questions that I get. So what I'm going to do here, actually, I'm going to change this as well. I'm going to undo that here, and I'm going to go with, oh, let's do Christmas colors. Why not, right? 2, 3, and this is really bad because I didn't even count down here. I just drew. So I'm missing 2 down here. Let me fix this. But that's the issue. So you can think of the red numbers and the green numbers as different. They're different dice. So you can see maybe the same sum or maybe an odd sum. Sometimes it'll ask you for things like an odd sum, an even sum, something like that. And so this could be like 5, 6. Now, the way this is written in the sample space, it doesn't really matter which die you call the first one and which die you call the second one. That's why I wrote it in 2 different colors here. When you write your sample space for this, I'm going to have to do this in red. So then I have 1, and then I'm going to need see what's happening is I'm looking at this. I'm looking at a red and a green number. You see? So this is 1, 1, for example, right? Now this would be like, if my red numbers are first, then this would be like 2, 1 over here, right? Now you could do, it depends on which die you called the first one and which die you called the second one. So you could just, as 1, 1 is going to be the same, but if I want to match hers, then I have to put the green first. If I want to match what she put on the slide, because she made the die number 1 go across. So this was like 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, I think. So I have to put the green first. It doesn't matter as long as you get all 36 of them, but it would look like this. It would be, this is 1, and then you have comma 1, you see? And then this green 1, and then the 2. So this would be like, this would be green 1, and then this would be the 2 again. So this would be at 1 and 2, for example. That's what we're saying. That's why this ends up the way it is. 1 and 3, 1 and 4, 1 and 5, 1 and 6, all the way down. Now, the first thing that gets people is usually something like this. Why is, here's 1, 2 right here. Why is this number, why is 2, 1 any different? 2 and 1. Why is that different? Well, it's not different in terms of what you see. It's different in terms of what die it's on. And for us, that matters, because that means if you have 2 dice and you call them distinct, right? Whether you can actually distinguish them or not, these outcomes are distinct. This first option here, in this cell here, in the cell that's on the first row, This means you rolled 1 on the first die and 2 on the second one. This means you rolled 2 on the first die and 1 on the second one. That's why those repeat, and you have that same repeating pattern all the way down. Hence, that's also why we have 36 outcomes. Now, I'm not going to fill in the whole sample. You have the sample space. I mean, I can if you want me to, but I think that's a
No,
little
you're
bit
fine.
overkill. But the other thing that people sort of get stuck on, especially when I first ask you, is probably now you know, but do you know how you know this? How many? So let me put this question out there. How many outcomes are in the sample space for 2 dice? How many outcomes are there?
I can say 6 different.
Okay, this is 2 dice. 2
Right.
dice.
12. I'm sorry, 12.
No. Think about the sample space for 2 dice. Let's do this. Let me hold on. This is why I wanted to go through this, because I've seen this happen too many times.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that I want to make sure is clear, because we tend to think that it is, and then we find out that it isn't. And then it's like, well, how did that happen? Kind of thing. So let me show you this. Let me take you back to PowerPoint slides. The slides are your friends. Let's open them up here. Okay, so if we look at the slides for 4.1, somewhere in here, we have the sample space for 2 dice. It's on slide number 8. It's on in other places as well, but this is the first time you see it. Now, if you look at this, this is not a trick question, but your answer is the exact reason why I ask people this. How many, okay, so you're looking at the sample space for 2 dice, right? How many outcomes are there?
6 and 6. 36.
There are 36 outcomes.
36.
Not 12.
Or 6. Correct.
Okay. Now, 6 does have a significance. What is 6? 6 is, if you look on slide number 6 here, if you look at the second line where it says experiments, and it says sample space, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, doesn't it?
Exactly.
The sample space for 1 die is 6 outcomes.
Right.
Okay. The sample space for 2 dice, which
36.
is on slide number 8, has 36 outcomes. Okay. And again, this is the reason why, because you have to pair every number on the first die, every number on the green one, in my example, with every number on the red one time.
Okay.
So there are 36 ways to do that. Okay.
Got it. That makes sense.
Now, let me extend this just a little, give you a little bit of a something to anchor this now that you've gone further into the chapter, because a lot of students do what you just did. They give me 6, and then they give me 12, and then sometimes they'll give me like 18, because they'll think, well, there's half because they don't want to count the ones that repeat, right? But 6, 12, and 36 are the most common responses to that.
Okay.
Now, there's a reason, if you think about it, why it's not 12, okay? Think about the fundamental counting rule, which is in section, it comes up in section 4.4, but it comes up a little bit before that. We address it in section 4.4 the most. If you thought about rolling 2 dice, right? And we had 2 decisions to make. We had a number on the first die, right?
Mhm.
And we know that the second die, assuming that it's not loaded and assuming that we're not influencing the outcome somehow, right? We have 2 dice, so we in effect have 2 decisions to make, right? So what number are we randomly going to roll on the first die? Well, we're going to roll a number from 1 to 6. There's 6 outcomes there, right?
Mhm.
And because that second outcome, that second die is also independent and has the same 6 outcomes, we end up with a total of 36 possible.
36. That makes sense.
Now that's kind of an extension. We're not going to ask you for this logic on the quiz or the exam, but it's underlying logic that is handy to have for the questions we will ask you. Does that make sense? So that's why there's 36 outcomes, not 12. Okay.
Okay.
Is that
That it.
believable now?
Yes. That yes, completely made sense now to my brain.
Now here's another thing. This is probably a little easier. Hopefully, sometimes it's not. So if that's not the case, feel free to let me know. But for most people, this portion is a little easier once you see the pattern. This sample space, just like the deck of cards, has a lot of interesting patterns in it. Okay. Now, what you have to pay attention to, besides the probability rules and whatnot, pay attention to what you're being asked for, because the probabilities, you have to know some basic vocabulary, like what is an even number, what is an odd number, what does it mean to have a sum, what does it mean to have a product, things like that. So and I can go over that if you need me to, but those kind of stuff are some basic things. So what if I asked you this question? What if I asked you, I said, okay, let's do this. Let's say find, and I'm not going to give you a real hard, we're going to do like a 4.1 probability here. What is the probability of a sum of 7? You can look at your sample space. What is the probability of a sum of 7?
It can be 4 and 3.
Okay, so I'm asking you for the probability. 4 and 3 is one of the outcomes that works, right? How do I find a probability in general?
Oh. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I think I did number 8 wrong because I got the answer, for example, on the problem 4.1,
Mm-hmm.
I understood it wrong because
Okay. Okay.
I put, for example, the answer I did for number 8, I just put doubles. I didn't
Okay,
do
let
any.
me look at the, hold on, let me go to the homework assignment. And let me pull it up. Because I don't have that out right now. So let me pull that up. Probability PDF 4.1. Here it is. Okay, let's take a look here. So we are at this answer. Okay. 4.1. If 2 dice are rolled one at a time, find the probability of getting these results. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about the or right now. Now remember something here. Let me go back to something that I said. And let's just do something as an exercise here before let's just do an exercise with this, but let me come back to something here for you.
Okay.
There's a lot of material on these slides. This was a whole lot of material. So I'm not surprised if you missed a few things here. Classical probability, which is what we're doing here, is the probability of some event. In this case, I referenced getting a sum of 7 on 2 dice, right? The probability of an event is equal to the number of ways for the event to occur, the number of desired outcomes in your sample space that fit your criteria over the total number of possible outcomes. Okay, so if I'm asking you in this question, I'll put it here again. No, I'm not gonna do that. I want to go here. So if I ask you the probability of a sum of 7, right? What I'm asking you really to do, the formula is, okay, that's the number of outcomes. Now, sum means we add numbers together, right? So the number of outcomes that add up to 7 divided by the total number of outcomes in the sample space. And now you know why I harped on that 36 so hard. Because if you don't know there's 36 outcomes in the sample space, you're going to be in trouble down here, right?
Right.
So this is the total number of possible outcomes. Now I'm going to do some, just because the way that my share screen and my Zoom is constructed, I can't be on 2 slides at the same time. I'll come back to this and show you, but then the outcomes, I'm going to write it this way. The outcomes, I'm going to write them in a list first and show you. The outcomes that add up to 7, because you are on the right track. but I need to know how many there are, not necessarily what they are. You follow me? So
Yes.
you need to know what they are in order to be able to count them. Okay, but I'm not asking you for which outcomes they are as much as how many are there. So if I'm looking at the outcomes, I'm going to have 1, 6 is going to fit.
Mm,
2 and 5 is going to fit, right?
yes.
3 and 7, as you mentioned, is going to fit.
3 and 4.
4
right?
and 3 are going to fit. Oh, sorry, 3 and, yeah, you're correct. I was getting ahead of myself. Thank you for correcting that. 4 and 3
Mm-hmm.
are going to fit. Now, after C, they repeat. You see how this
Yeah.
works? So we have 5 and 2, but this is why these matter, you see? 5 and
Right.
2,
Right.
6 and 1. Now, there are 6 of these, aren't there? There are 6 ordered pairs on the screen. Or there should be 6 ordered pairs on the screen. We should count and find out. But there should be 6 ordered pairs. There are 6 ordered pairs on the screen. Now, so the probability of a sum of 7, is going to be 6 out of 36.
Oh.
And then you reduce that fraction, which is 1 out of 6. And then you go on and make it a decimal and a percentage, as she did. But that's how you come up with those probabilities.
Okay. That makes more sense now.
Is that useful? Now, one of the things I wanted to show you too, because this, and I tried to, I'll come back to that. Give me a minute. I just want to do some housekeeping on my screen here. So if you go back to slide number 8, where you have the sample space, right? This sample space has a pattern. Let's do something here. So here, I'm going to annotate my screen. Use the spotlight for you. There you go. Now, we're going to take the numbers in parentheses. I'm going to show you something here. The only, okay, what is the sum of this first ordered pair? 1, 1. Here's the sum.
2.
That's 2. The only way to get 2 on this whole list is this row right here. That's the only way to get 2. Now, look at the next ordered pair here, 1 and 2. If you add that together, you get
3.
3. If you come down here, 2 plus 1 is 3. Notice where they are. See?
Across from each other.
Watch this pattern. So 1 plus 3 is
4.
4. 2 plus 2 is
4.
3 plus 1 is
4.
You see?
Ah. Okay.
And it continues. 4 plus 1 or 1 plus 4 is 5. And follow
Yep.
the diagonal, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I want a sum of 7, here's 6 plus 1,
6 plus 1.
5 plus 2, 4 plus 3, 3 plus 4, 2 plus 5, 1 plus 6. This sample space just happens to have that pattern. It's part of the way, it's not anything that we artificially imposed. It's part of the properties of the sample space itself. Okay. But
Okay.
it has that kind of symmetry. So if you ever need, so one of the questions that they ask you in number 8, one of the parts asks you for the probability of a sum of 7 or 11, or is it 9 or 11 or 7 or 11?
8.
Yeah, it's
So,
question 8, but what is the, I think it's
oh, sorry,
9
11.
or 9 or 11,
Sorry.
right?
It's 11.
What was that?
So it's going to be 11.
But is it the
7
sum of 7 or
or
11 or 9 or 11?
7 or 11.
7 or 11. Okay, well,
Yeah.
we we beat the sum of 7 to death right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to make you do that again necessarily right here anyway. 7 or 11. Now, where am I going to find my sums of 9? Sorry, 11. Where am I going to find my sums?
Where is that? Where is showing 6,5?
Yeah, so it's going to be on
And-
this. Mm-hmm.
And then we have 5, the opposite, 5.
Right
and
here.
and 6. Yep.
How many outcomes is that?
2.
That's 2. So now when I this is kind of a prelude, right? This question is kind of a prelude, but that's why you were given the sample space here, so you could look at it and find them. Okay, and you will have access to this on the quiz and the exam as well. But this is kind of a prelude to the addition rule and things like mutually exclusive events, right? Because if you look at this here, if you look at the outcomes for the sum of 11, which is, come on, cursor, somewhere around here. You're floating around, but I can't find you. I cannot find my cursor anywhere to save my life. Let me see.
It's under the word solution, around solution.
That's what happens when it becomes a mark. Thank you for that. 6 plus 5 is 11 right here.
Yes.
And 5 plus 6 is 11, right?
Yes.
And we know where our sums of 7 are. So there's nothing that is overlapping in those events. Those are mutually exclusive, aren't they?
Yes.
So that's why that becomes a deal. That's why that becomes a situation. Now, when you have, here's your sums of 7 right here. So now if you want to find by the rules that are in this section, because we don't technically learn the rules for the addition rules until 4.2. Now, something that I should mention that I mentioned several times, but you haven't been here. So in case you don't remember it, if you have more than one possible rule that you could use to solve a problem in this chapter, as long as it's mathematically correct, what you do and your steps are correct, you will get credit for it. So she's not going to say, use the addition rule to solve, if the counting rule works or the permutation rule works, you can use either one. If the addition rule would work or looking at the sample space would work, you would get credit for it as long as you showed us what you did. Like if you wrote out all the outcomes and counted, that would be fine, you know. So now, more importantly, let's see if I managed to clarify anything with this whole digression.
No, you did.
So what is, if I ask you for the probability of the sum of 7 or 11, what would you say?
Okay. So, the probability for 7 or 11 All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 divided by 36. That equals 0.167. Okay, that's another question I also had. When it comes to the decimal,
Mhm.
since it doesn't specify like last the week that we spoke,
Mhm.
how the professor indicated, oh, it have to be, 4 after the decimal, right?
She will specify on the quiz or the exam how many she wants.
Oh, okay. So
Generally with probability, we do 3 or 4. Most of her materials now are 4 for this. Then that's just so that everybody has the same answer because for this very reason.
perfect.
Okay.
That
But
was gonna
on the quiz or the exam, she will specify how
okay.
many you're supposed to go.
Okay, perfect.
So
And-
let's assume for the sake of this discussion that you're going to 4 places after the decimal.
Okay, so then it's
Just for the sake of this video, because I made an executive decision right now and I'm telling you it's 4, just so you can get through this problem before the end of the night. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to be here all night with this.
yeah,
We have other problems to consider besides. So how many ways are there to get a sum of 7 or 11?
6. So
No.
for the 7, it's gonna be 6.
Well, there are 6 for that, but how, if I asked you for, okay, now, this is another piece of this puzzle. Couple
Okay.
of things here, because you also did something that I've seen a lot of students do, and some of them do it with awareness, and some of them do it and they don't really realize that it's wrong. So I'm going to point it out
Okay.
in case you're doing it without realizing what it is that you're doing.
Okay.
Probabilities are between 0 and 1. Okay, they're between 0 and 1. So don't confuse a probability, and you know this intrinsically, you know this. If I ask you for the probability that it rains, you don't tell me 20 or 6 or 10 or 5, right? Here's what happens with this. This is what happens to students. They do what you did. They confuse the number of outcomes or the number of events in the sample space with the probability, okay? So you'll hear me in the video. You probably heard me, not as much as you would have heard me if this was in person and we were doing this, and because I get to the point where it's like, I'm gonna say this so many times, you're gonna hear me saying it to you. Probability is a fraction. Now it could add up to 1, but it's a fraction. So don't tell me the probability is 6. That's not correct. The probability is 6 out of 36, okay? So just get into that habit of doing that, because that's what happens. And I know that you understand it. Most students do, but they get into that habit and they come up with some answers that they look at it and they go, why did I get it wrong? And then they look at it and they realize what they wrote or what they did.
So in this case, right now, when you ask me what is the probability, so for example, I just did the math. I did
You worked
the
it all
outcome.
out.
I worked the outcome.
Uh-huh.
So I get the 6 divided by 36.
Right.
I got 0.1667. And then I multiplied that to get my percentage.
Okay.
And I got 16%.
Right. Now you're 80% correct.
Okay.
Everything you said right now is correct.
Okay.
However, There's a big however, right? However, that's not the question that I asked you. And I'll show you why. What you did, because I heard you thinking out loud, so good for you there. What you answered for me was this. What you answered, and that's why I put it up here. You answered a question that I did want you to ask, and it is part of this example, but you answered this question. The probability of a sum of 7. That is in fact this 6 out of 36, which is in fact 1 out of 6, which is in fact this number. This is 0.167 or 1667, depending.
Yes.
If we're going to 4 places, we'll do what Shauna said. Don't change horses in the middle of the stream, Shauna. It's hard enough without that. So this is going to be 16.67%.
Okay.
That is just fine. That is correct for that answer. Okay. However,
I think I got it. Let me show you.
Okay, talk to me.
Okay.
Talk to me. What do we got here?
Okay, so this is what I did wrong. I needed to put, okay, the probability sum of 7 or 11, it's gonna equal to it's gonna equal to 6 plus, hold on, mamas, 6 plus 2.
Yes, over 36.
Over 36.
And so how much is 6 plus 2?
8.
8. So it's 8 out of 36, and then you reduce from there.
8 divided by 36 equals 0.22.
8 out of 36. Try that again. That should be like, it's more than 20%.
Oh, hold on.
It should be like 27. I think it's 24 something.
Really?
I could be wrong. Let me see. Let me work it out really quick.
Okay.
But it should be 20 something percent.
I got
That
22.
okay, that makes that might be, that sounds more realistic than what I thought I heard the first time.
Yeah.
8 out of 36. Yeah, so 22.22%.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that I believe. Yeah, that's
Okay. No, I think I was giving you the decimal.
okay. Gotcha.
I was giving you the decimal, and then afterwards I did the percentage. Okay, that's another question too I have for you.
Okay.
So say right now I got for the percentage 22.22.
Hey, come on, give this to me. It's a back for my stuff. For my
That means you're improving. Sorry.
Take your time. Station break, that's fine. Not a problem. We'll be right back after these messages. I muted your mic, Isabel, so when you're ready, okay? You can unmute your mic when you're ready.
Okay, so my question, like right now, when you mentioned, the percentage was 22.22%. Now, after so if I'm trying to get the percentage out of a decimal, do I just cut it off like 22%, or do I need to put 22.22%?
Okay, so if you're, okay, so let's answer this with what we know. assuming that the rule is round to 4 decimal places, right? Which is what you see right here.
Yes.
Right? How do I go from a decimal to a percent? What do I have to do?
You move it
How
your right.
many?
Twice
Twice to the
right.
right, which would make there be another 22 behind it, just because you're rounding to 4.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Does that answer your question or not?
Yes, now it does. It's clear, crystal clear. Okay. I was just closing it, leaving it as 22% instead of like
Okay.
22 point. Okay.
Do you need anything else that's on this screen?
No,
right now?
I'm good now.
Okay. Because I'm going to show you something here, and what happens is a lot of that goes away so I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel if I don't have to. This is something, again, basic, but it comes up for students all the time. And it's, yes, there's rounding, and by the way, your mic is muted. I don't know if that's by design or not, but I just wanted to let you know it is. So here, you had it unmuted and now it's muted again.
Sorry, my daughter's in the room.
That's fine. If you feel more comfortable muting it, that's fine with me. I don't have a problem with that. I
Okay.
just wanted you to know. One thing that students get mixed up on, besides how to round, which I don't think is the difficulty for you. Some students have a difficult time with how to round numbers, but I will mention this because this has come up. Decimal places, okay? She will specify, as I said, how many she wants. Decimal places refers to numbers or digits to the right of the decimal point. Not the number of digits in the answer. So if I have something similar to what you wrote, this is 0.2222, right?
Mhm.
This is 4 decimal places.
Mhm.
This is 4 decimal places. If I write this, if I say 22%, okay, this is 0 decimal places. Because there's no decimal point and there's no places after it. This is what we call the nearest whole number, or the nearest, in this case, it would be the nearest whole percent, for example. But this is no decimal places, okay? If I give you an answer like 1.6%, this round your answer, this is what we call the nearest 10th of 1%. Because this is a 10th in where the 6 is, this is a 10th of a percent. Now, if I make this a decimal, this is 0.016. So this would be 3 places after. This would be 3 decimal places. This would start with 3 decimal places, but this would be the nearest 10th of a percent right here. Because when you turn it into a percent, the nearest 10th of a percent means you turn it into a percent first, which means we multiply this by 100, right? So
Mhm.
you take, let me show you this. Let me put this up on the calculator. Let me see if I have, no, I don't have it open. Station break while the calculator opens. Okay, now we're going to, so if I had an answer like 0.016, let's say. That was my decimal, right? Now, if I multiply this by 100, this becomes 1.6%. This is the nearest 1/10 of a percent
Okay.
at this point. So that's some of that terminology you have to kind of know. And that's based in arithmetic, you see. But that's kind of how that works. Just wanted to make you aware of it because I see a lot of students struggle with that. Okay.
No, yeah, that's why I brought it to attention.
If you have something like, now this is something else that you can do. This does not work for everybody, and I'll tell you why. Sometimes the rounding rules change from one part of the test, not usually on the quiz, but they change from one part to another. So if you want, like if you had a fraction like 8 out of 36, right? It's going to give you that, right? If you want to round the decimal and you aren't sure, now this one, granted, is pretty easy, okay? But one thing that you can do, if you know that like you're going to round to 4 decimal places all the time or whatever it is, you can set your calculator to set it for you. So you can go to math. Actually, I'm sorry, you can go not math, you go to mode, which is right next to the second key. Go to mode. Go to the second line on your screen where it says float. Right now, mine is on float. And I'm going to hit the right arrow key until I get this is going to give me the number of decimal places to display. So if I want to display 4, then I have, now here's the thing that people forget. Now this is something a little crazy. I don't know if you can see on my screen right now, the numbers are black on a white background, but you see the box flashing as black. See that? I'm going to hit enter, watch what happens. Now the white number is flashing. That tells you that it's taken it, that it's actually gone in and applied it. If you don't do that, let me go back to this. If you don't do that, see, now it'll show you in black. That means it's applied it. But if you don't do that, you see how this is flashing black on, you see that?
Yes.
It's not applying the float just because I'm hovering over it. I have to hit enter until I see that change in the background. And if you're ever not sure, just move the cursor, and whichever one is highlighted in black or whatever color your screen is the one that it's using. Right now I have it back on float, but if I want it on 4, I hover on the 4, put your cursor on the 4, hit enter, and then it will change it. Okay.
Okay.
So if you ever want to change, now, if you forget all of that, you come over here, you do your 8 over 36. If you want to see how many decimal places you have, just look at how many came out. Now, remember our other one was 6 out of 36. And people go like, well, do I move the 6 up? Do I keep it where it is? Well, the last 6 becomes a 7, but it will round it for you, okay? The only reason I don't always recommend that is sometimes, like I said, the rounding rules change. So if she asks for 3 places on 1, and then 5 questions later, you're doing 4 places, it might be more work than it's worth to change it. But if you really have difficulty rounding, then that might be something that you would consider doing.
Okay.
But that's just a little freebie going
Thank
there.
you. No, yeah, that everything helps. Everything
So-
helps me. Trust me.
Just, I mean, that's a personal decision. I'm not gonna like, that's not a hill to die on by any means.
Okay.
Just wanted to mention it because somebody else had asked about it previously, so. Okay, so are we semi okay with that now? Is there anything
Yes.
else that you?
Yes. I did had another question. We got emails from the professor today, confirming about or like specifying on the homework and the quiz. It looks like we're having part 1 to be due tomorrow. And then part
Okay,
2.
let me take a look at it because I have not, I know that, so are you in the in-person or the online class? Because I
Online.
know there's a couple of different scenarios for that, and that was an issue with some.
Yeah, and I think and I just want to confirm because I did freak out when I read the email, like, hey,
Confusing aspects
yes,
to so and so. Let me see what, because I know some of it was in the email and some of it was in an announcement to you.
Yes.
So let me see what is actually posted so I can see if I can address this again in another way. Let me find I'm gonna have to go into my online account, go into Canvas. Which section is it?
It's gonna be in, let me,
Are you in 3353 or are you in
I'm in,
which course is it?
yeah, 33353.
You're in the 33353. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Let me look at the announcements and see what she said. Okay, so it says, let me put this up on a screen. So here. Dun, dun, dun,
Oh,
dun.
okay.
It says, your screen. Let me read what it says. It says, for this quiz, okay, so this is your standard quiz instructions, 4.1 to 4.4. So 4.5 will not be on this quiz. It's going to be available Thursday, tomorrow at 12 a.m. So tonight at like when she goes to sleep, it'll be available. And it will be due on the same day, Thursday at 11:59. So 12 hours later.
Okay. Okay, so I think I was looking at my emails then, because, and then I saw the announcement right now in, well, not right now, but I saw it, I read it, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So I just wanted to confirm.
Did she send you another, because there was some confusion with her. I know this happened the other day with her in-person versus her online class. So but I think she corrected it.
Yes. Okay, yes.
So are we okay with this?
Yes, we're okay. And just to confirm, there's no second part. It's just one.
Not as far as I know for the online class.
Okay.
I know for the in-person that there is, but I'm not sure if I haven't seen, I don't get those emails. I get the announcements, but I don't get the follow-up email. So
Okay, got it.
let me take a station break myself here and confirm and come back to you.
Okay. Mm. Okay, she did send that email yesterday. Please ignore the announcement I sent this morning. It has been modified. Please check the new version. Your third quiz on section 4.1. Sorry, did I mute myself again?
I had myself muted because I was trying to figure out what was going on, but I know she modified this.
I found it.
So
I found that email.
so so this is where this comes
Yeah.
in.
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct.
So she did and I think that, let me pull up this inbox message if it's the message that I think it was before, because somebody had asked me about it. So yeah, somebody else from another class had asked me about this. And I said, she confirmed that the time restrictions you saw on the Canvas announcement, which was, I think there was a 1 p.m. Canvas restriction,
Yes.
applies to in-person classes only. And that there's another email in your email inbox. Not an announcement, it's another message in your email about that.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So,
well, thank you for my my questions. I
that's
will.
okay. Do you have any other ones for me, Isabel?
I think I should be good. I'm gonna
Okay.
continue doing my homework.
Okay.
If I have any questions, I will be able to see you tomorrow again, right?
Yeah, there's more tutoring sessions tomorrow.
Perfect.
Just FYI for you, and I have something to take care of. It's one of
Okay.
those errands that we have to all run and do whatever.
Don't
And
worry.
I should be back in plenty of time to start the meeting on time. If for some reason it doesn't, I'll make sure that you guys are aware and I will make it up. But there are 2 meeting blocks tomorrow. The meeting blocks start, I believe, at 4, I want to say. I this week, you have to forgive me, I can't keep track of my own schedule this week.
No,
So
I know, because you guys gave us like beautiful schedule. That's why I got on board today. I'm like, I told my aunt.
well,
"Hey,
and I said the same thing to somebody else in the geometry class too. Like, if you guys like have like something that you want, you can come in to, like, it probably wouldn't benefit you as much because I have the geometry class in the morning.
oh,
And then I have this, but I mean, I can always fudge it if I have to, you know? So if you're like, oh God, like I really, then send me a message and I can, because like the other night, I think I was supposed to leave at 7:30 and I didn't leave until 8. So, because somebody was here doing work, you know what I mean? So I'm
okay.
not gonna stay up till like midnight, but I can go a half hour either way usually. So it's not a big deal. This afternoon I made up for it because I had a impromptu meeting that I didn't know we were gonna have. And I was 15 minutes late opening up the geometry one, and there happened to be somebody there for the first time ever. So I was like, I felt
Oh,
bad, but I was able to stay with him and work on it. So it just depends. So let me know if that's an issue, because if there's things like that, especially like for a holiday or before an exam, we can adjust that.
okay,
We
perfect.
can't adjust that if we don't know.
No, I know.
You
No,
know, so
yes,
so that's kind of where that's going. But do keep in mind that after I will probably sneak in, and I told Professor Nick this. I will probably sneak in on Friday and at least look at the emails
okay,
because we can't tutor for the school by law. They're not allowed to do that.
oh,
So that doesn't preclude me from setting up another meeting of my own if I have to, if I feel like it's necessary. But I will, because some of the stuff is due on Friday, I think I will sneak into my emails and I will look at it. And I will be looking tomorrow, and she will also, because she's going to be grading. So I will be looking at it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Now, am I going to be looking at it on Saturday, Sunday? And I don't think so. But probably Friday, you can probably, but if you need to get a hold of us, do send us a message because
okay,
it goes. So, but I'm glad to see you're doing better. You look like you're
Yes.
feeling better.
yes,
We
yes, yes,
And
yes,
so that's
yes.
good.
I'm glad, and I'm even more happier because I understood it even better right now with you. So I'm like, okay, awesome, beautiful.
Yeah,
Okay.
and there is when you get to 4.4, I think it is. It's the question about the dogs that are moving in a circle. It's on the tutoring a few times. But it's a counting rule. There is a mistake on the handout for the answer. And I think she fixed it last night. But if you downloaded it prior to last night,
Yeah,
you may still have the error there.
I did.
So
Okay,
if you find that that's number, I want to say it's number 4. It's the one about eight dogs at a dog show that are running around in a line. Like I said, it's in one of the tutoring videos, but
Okay.
it's section 4.4.
okay.
And I believe it's whatever number that is. I want to say it's number 4, but I could be wrong.
8 dogs are selected for the final round.
That one, yeah. And it's part A is if you go down to her answer key, which is on the last page of that section. Go down to her answer key. Part A is correct. Part A is like, I want to say it's 40,000 something. 40,320.
40,320.
Part B should be 5,040, not 20,000, whatever it says.
Okay, 20.
5040 should be the answer for that one. And that one is in the embedded session from last night that was just posted this morning.
Okay,
So I will do my best to post. I'm gonna get all of these videos. I've got one for the geometry class, and then I've got 2 for the stats class that I've got to get rendered and posted. So
Okay.
look for if you're one of those night owls that's watching my videos at like midnight, because I know some of you do, because I get messages at that time. But if you're one of those people, they'll probably be up tonight, but they'll definitely be up tomorrow for you to refer to when you're looking at them. And if by some strange, because it happens, not intentionally, but it happens, if you think that you're taking the quiz and you're like, oh my gosh, I think there's a typo, I think there's a mistake, something happened, email her. Email us, because it does happen.
Okay.
It has happened, and she will fix it. And the sooner she finds it, if somebody finds it, like if somebody takes the quiz at like early in the morning, and then she finds it, you'll get an announcement that says, please download a new version because I fixed the or if necessary. Sometimes it's just a typo, but sometimes it's really germane to the problem. So if you find that you think there's a mistake, let us know. Because we try hard, but it has happened in the
Okay.
past. So don't think, well, it can't be because she wrote. No, it could be. Okay. And that's all I have to
Okay,
say
sounds
about that.
perfect. Thank you once again for
You're
all the
welcome.
help.
You're welcome.
I
Is there
appreciate
a time that works better for you than, does this time work okay? Or did you just take off work because of the quiz, or?
No, luckily my daughter has
Your daughter has Friday off?
and so it would today, huh?
I didn't get that. You were breaking up. What did you say?
Oh, I was saying that my daughter usually has tutoring from 5 to 6.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I get off from work at 2 to pick her up, and then we start doing homework, then I start doing
Gotcha.
my homework. So it rumbles into like the day for me.
Gotcha.
You know, and then she has cheerleading too, and then I have 4 classes total.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,